Massive fraud, national intel, bear brief. United States, 9th of January 2026. What is it? The 10th today. 10th of the 1st, 2026, Australia. Bear Independent. I'm not into plagiarism, but I do like to pinch a lot of his things. Cheers, Bear. And on Bear's request, I must, and rightly so, inform you that anything broadcasted from Bear is brought to you from the Most High. Why? Because it is. He's just a vessel, I'm just a meat wagon. But man, he's a hell of a vessel. Thank you, Bear. Oh. For being a righteous man, not a soft man, not a weak man, but a good man.
January 26. The Trump administration announced this week it's halting roughly $10 billion in federal social service funding to 5 Democratic-led states: Minnesota, New York, California, Illinois, and Colorado. I'm shocked, I tell you. The freeze affects $7 billion for temporary assistance for needy families, the program, TANF program, nearly $2.4 billion for Child Care Development Fund, and about $870 million in social services grants. HHS, or Health and Human Services spokesperson Andrew Nixon, said the move aims to crack down on what the administration calls widespread fraud, declaring, quote, "For too long, Democratic-led states and governors have been complicit in allowing massive amounts of fraud to occur under their watch," end quote. I agree. The administration points to Minnesota as the primary example where more than 90 people face federal charges related to fraud schemes covered since 2021. Prosecutors estimate the total fraud could reach $9 billion, starting with a $250 million, bless you wife, thank you so much, Kofefe, a $250 million COVID-era scheme involving a nonprofit called Feeding Our Future that allegedly stole from the federal child nutrition program. Federal prosecutors have since found, quote, large-scale fraud in housing programs for seniors and disabled people, as well as programs serving children with autism. President Trump has singled out Minnesota's handling of the scandal and called California more corrupt than Minnesota, saying Tuesday that, quote, the fraud investigation of California has begun. Beyond Minnesota, though, the administration hasn't yet presented evidence of sweeping fraud in the other 4 states. Hasn't yet. The federal letters sent to each state appear to have been written hastily. Requests for documents repeatedly refer to Minnesota, even in letters addressed to other states. Now, Governor, air quote, Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, stumbled over his words yesterday, basically implying that he's going to activate the Guard and use the Guard to attempt to keep ICE agents out of Minnesota. When asked by a reporter if this means that the state of Minnesota is in a war with the federal government, he stumbled over his words even further and implied that he would use the Minnesota Guard to remove ICE agents from Minnesota. That's not going to happen. And if it does happen, it's going to get real ugly real fast for Tim Walz and not his constituents, but his cronies in the state of Minnesota. The fraud is absurd in scope. And it's part of why people like me have had it up to past our eyeballs with this concept of taxation without representation. We don't have elected officials. We have people that go to Washington, D.C. to enrich themselves. And we pay an absurd amount of tax in exchange for being told a story about how free it is here and how great things are here, and we're the best country in the world. There's a lot of shitholes out there. Don't get it wrong. But the dollar's tanking, and it's getting harder and harder for everybody at almost every level of existence in the United States of America just to make ends meet, have a couple bucks left over, to move ahead, to move up. And billions and hundreds of billions of dollars, billions, a thousand million. So hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars are being stolen from us by both parties, by the way. Not just the Democrats, by both parties. And we're supposed to just smile and take it. Please, sir, may I have another? I don't know, but I think every one of us should just quit paying taxes. Until this slop can be addressed. What's the point? The freeze put states in a tough spot. Letters from the Administration for Children and Families demand detailed recipient data by January 20, including names, addresses, social security numbers, birth dates, and verified attendance documents. States must provide this before money flows again. Now, remember DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, a little fellow by the name of Elon Musk? It seems like their nerd squad got way too close to the truth too quickly, and they had to put a kibosh on that because, the little people aren't ready to learn so quickly how much fraud there actually is. COVID, largest transfer of wealth in human history. To whom? To whom, by the way? Bear, if we don't pay our taxes, the government will default on its national debt. National debt to whom? The planet is 315 trillion. That's 315 million dollars in debt. To whom? There's going to be a financial reset. I was talking about this. I put a 16-page high-level intelligence brief written on Patreon yesterday. And then we were talking about this on the Patreon live stream last night. There's going to be a reset. And it will likely start with the housing values in the United States of America approximately 90 days out. Keep an eye on that. And remember that I said this. Let's see. For families, the impact could be serious in Colorado alone. TANF supports more than 50,000 children. Allegedly. Where are they? And forgive me if I don't give a shit about Colorado's budget because I live in Oklahoma. Or Minnesota's budget, or California's budget, or anything else. What happened to the 10th Amendment? The federal government holds states hostage by pouring funding into the states from the federal level, which is, again, a redistribution of wealth. Why is somebody in Delaware subsidizing something that's happening in New Mexico? Or vice versa? What do Florida and North Dakota have to do with one another? They don't. They don't. When was the last time that Arizona and Maine decided to come into some kind of covenantal economic relationship? The whole thing's absurd. It's not at all what our founders intended. And I understand, whining isn't going to fix anything, so what do? Dude, abstain. I'm at this point now. I was like, you can't be trusted with the money that I give you. Why would I give you more money? He who can be trusted with little can be trusted with much. This is a biblical concept. You can't be trusted with little. $315 million in debt. But if you Venmo $601 to somebody, the IRS is going to audit your ass. No, I'm good. I'm good on this. The state's Child Care Assistance Program helps about 28,000 kids in Colorado. Does it? Where are they? With nearly 70% of funding coming from federal dollars, families qualifying for TANF this year had monthly incomes under $421 for one adult and two children, with the average monthly benefit of $494. Now, the numbers in general are no good anywhere, anyway. The Trump administration, ICE and Tom Homan said they have recovered 70,000 missing children this year. I don't buy that for a second. Where are they? There's 420 DHS-sanctioned beds nationwide for juvenile human trafficking survivors. 420. For comparison, there's 77,000 Customs and Border Patrol temporary detention beds. There's 77,000 beds for illegal aliens. There's 420 beds for kids nationwide, and that number 420 is bull. Most of them exist only on paper. And you want to talk about a racket. The cost associated from DHS for each one of those beds is somewhere around $350,000 per bed per year to simply provide that bed to a juvenile human trafficking survivor. That's why we do Caleb House stuff, because the cost associated with one DHS bed, we can run operations for 21 children being restored for that same cost. So we're 2,000+% more effective than the federal government with private dollars. Imagine that. So the Trump administration's rescued 70,000 kids. Where are they? I don't believe that they exist either. Miro Kaya, who runs the 4 child care centers across Metro Denver, said, quote, "Right now we're in survival mode." Good. Nearly 300 kids from struggling families attend his centers daily while their parents work. Without the federal funding, he said, quote, "all of them will shut down." He defended Colorado's system against the fraud concerns. Yeah, we'll see, won't we? Noting parents must log in at the center to check kids in and out daily. In Colorado, I'd be shocked to hear of any facility that's able to scam if that's what they're concerned about, he said. They're very regulated. Also worth noting, in Colorado, TANF recipients must have U.S. citizenship, a green card, or refugee status. Undocumented immigrants don't qualify for the state's child care assistance program either. Some immigrants with temporary legal status were eligible under Biden, but that changed after Trump's inauguration last year. The administration has also implemented a nationwide defend the spend policy, requiring all 50 states to provide additional justification when drawing down child care funds. Some states are already reporting delays. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker posted that, quote, "thousands depend on these programs and now their livelihoods are at risk," end quote. This is yet another example of an upset in one sector easily creating cascading impacts for many average folks. I think it's also another example of Rome burning. You can only keep up the ruse for so long. Bonus intel. Oh, by the way, show's brought to you by the creator of the universe who allowed us to wake up this morning. Thank you, Dad. Appreciate you. The wonderful people over on Patreon. You can go to bearindependent.com, click the link in the description. You'll find a link to Patreon there. Or you can go to patreon.com, search for Bear Independent. I'm closing the $10 tier sundown Saturday. All existing $10 patrons will be grandfathered in. After that, we will have new tiers. So, welcome to all the new patrons, and if you're not one yet, I'm closing the $10 tier sundown Saturday. Okay, Bear. And of course, nephews.reticle.corn. Anything you need, we got you. This is bonus intel. My children's legitimate daycare owner was talking with me the other day, and I asked her about fraud cases. She told me that Minnesota is extremely easy state to commit daycare fraud. The state only commits one random audit a year, but the state will mail you a letter as a warning that they are coming sometime that quarter for the audit. So a quote-unquote daycare center can bust into large family groups daily until the audit is finished. She also says the state does not sit there and count children inside the business at the time, but they also rarely dig deep into the financials of daycares. She also told me that the state of Minnesota daycare program really cannot maintain hours in between what the state calls normal wake hours and normal sleep hours. Normal wake hours are 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and vice versa for normal sleep hours. We've been dealing with Somali fraud for a little over a decade now. I can tell you firsthand myself that there are several businesses that claim daycare or medical care with no one operating or allowing new patients or students, but the state just pours money into them. Our entire political system in Minnesota is corrupted from Republicans to Democrats with no end in sight. Yes. Now, one asterisk. Our entire political system in America is corrupted from Republicans to Democrats with no end in sight. Next, I heard national intel sent in a while back where a peace officer sent in that there were outages in a reporting system, and I can confirm, for South Central Oklahoma. We've had major problems with 911 system, phone systems, report systems, NCIC, and the OLET systems. I heard the fire department get paged out to a report of an explosion at a residential transformer yesterday. After the first fireman cleared the call and stated that it was a squirrel that blew some fuses, I heard the fire chief instruct him leave evidence there for the electric company. This made me wonder if that is normal or a new directive from the electric company to rule out any malicious acts, but I've never found the answer. People are beginning to wake up where I am, but not to the extent that they should be. My church had a man caught on audio-video security cam in the parking lot a while back making statements that are definite mass casualty indicators. It was clear that he was aware of the cameras, that the cameras record audio because he spoke to them directly. A deacon and a pastor tried to report it to the local sheriff's office, and I told them that I knew exactly who the person was. I told them to just call me and I would give them his identity. The deputy disgustingly said, "I'm not calling him." I just had a video up on Patreon Tuesday. ARs for church security. You are going to have to be your own first responder. Just because a Leo attends your church does not mean that you are covered. I've witnessed what happens during a long-term exchange of fire, and the law enforcement response is not what you expect. 90% of the cops that respond to my reports of shots fired did not help, but just came to be able to say I was there, while congesting the only way in, blocking EMS and others who actually wanted to come engage with me. Roll heavy. We have the Refuge Medical Defender 1 class is February the 8th. If you carry a weapon to church and or you are on the church security team, come to the Defender 1 class. You can use promo code BEARNATION for 10% off that class, any other class, and anything else at Refuge Medical, by the way. And truth in advertising, I get a couple bucks. See, Refuge doesn't, I'm not on the payroll at Refuge. I'm going to sneeze. Come on. I'm not on the payroll at Refuge, but I do get a couple of bucks if you use promo code BEARNATION. And that helps me buy things from Palmetto State Armory and elsewhere. So I appreciate it when you do that. That helps me a little bit. But it also gets you 10% off. So you can use that to come to the Defender 1 class at Refuge, which I will be teaching along with others. And I'm going to shoot you with a rifle inside of a church. And you're going to try and shoot back with rifles and pistols. And then you're going to find out for real what it's like to actually be in a church shooting. And the benefit here is Nobody's going to actually die. And we're going to do this over and over and over again until theory becomes reality on how you react to contact inside of a church. So, that's the Defender 1 class, Refuge Medical. Next, we bought a new couch online for Christmas that was delivered last week. 2 Middle Eastern men who barely spoke English delivered it. Dude, this is a get off my front lawn moment. That's what shotguns are for. I always treat everyone with initial respect, so I welcomed them, thanked them for the delivery, and asked if they'd been busy. The question was immediately followed with the response, "Do your cameras work?" I have a camera above my garage doors that overlook my driveway. Red flags immediately went up in my mind. Thankfully, I did not let the delivery guys into my home as I had them drop the couch off in my driveway. I responded nonchalantly, "Yeah, they work." I thanked them and quickly got them off my property using, "I'm sure you've got more deliveries, you better go so you can beat traffic," as an excuse to hurry them off. Could be nothing, but also very off-putting. Next, I'm a machinist in a small shop in the middle of Western Virginia. Wise County? We had a man that looked to be of Middle Eastern descent come into our shop a few weeks ago. He wanted to buy our containers of scrap metal shavings. He said that he wanted to scrap it for us. I'm sure it has nothing to do with producing improvised explosive devices. Bear, that sounds a lot like profiling. Are you profiling right now? Well, listen, if the shoe fits, is it profiling or is it pattern recognition? Which could it possibly be? He was offering more than what the current scrap price was. It seems like either he didn't know how much scrap price was or he was trying to offer so much that we would just say yes. We contacted the proper authorities and we were told that there was nothing they could do because no crime was committed. Next, fun fact, if you are born in the Upper Peninsula, you are considered a Yooper. If you are from the lower part of Michigan, you are considered a troll. In Bear's recent YouTube video, December 29th, 2025, he had mentioned the snowstorm that would hit the Upper Peninsula. I do apologize for how far out this report is from the storm, but it took a while to recover from the storm calls and digging out of the snow. After action, the storm started off, warm temps, 10 p.m., started 60 to 80 mile an hour winds, trees down, power line issues, thousands without power. The city shut down for many reasons, travel conditions, no power in most areas. Within 3 days, the power was restored. Local power companies good at getting the power back up. As for our area, most of the power lines down were really communications lines, aka phone cables. I still would not recommend the average Joe touch or mess with those lines in case there's power somehow touching it. They have 48 volts DC on them. They're extremely insulated. Let's see, most of the residents were cleaning up for days, plows, snow blowers. Growing up as a Yooper, I was always taught by the older generation to keep a week's worth of food minimum in the house for storms like these. The other thing that I feel the younger generation are not doing, thinking of, is backup heat. A lot of older homes in the township have your daily heat sources like boilers and furnaces, and then have a wood burner that may be tied to the boiler or a standalone stove. The newer houses or apartments that have been built in the last couple of years don't have backups in both power and or heat. I fear we have lost what our elders have learned the hard way. Bear did ask about vehicle kits. Most Yoopers do have some kind of kit in their vehicles. Now, what are you looking for, babe? I do not have it. Now, with that side, do they know how to use it? Also depends on the vehicle, what they would carry. Cold weather clothing, cold blanket, flashlight, emergency candles, all this will be in the written brief as well. Radio, snacks, food, warming layers, spare gas, tow straps, jumper cables, first aid kit of some kind? First aid kit of some kind? Really? You send an intel to intel@burnpen.com and you say first aid of some kind? Not the venerable nephew's reticle.corn? Really? I, sir, are offended. You've wounded me, sir. Anyway, that's the national intel today. This fraud stuff, the fraud, it's going to get worse. Or I should say, it is significantly worse than what has been reported. Expect it to get worse. Expect to find out more about it. And at the same time, the United States is going to continue to capture oil tankers to rebuild the SPR. We talked a lot about this on the Patreon live stream last night. Maybe we'll talk more about it on Monday. Second week of January, which is now, is allegedly the week that some homegrown Middle Eastern D-bags are supposed to do some bad stuff. Again, I have no direct indicators, otherwise I would tell you guys, but I don't. So it's just all an alleged, a maybe, a possibly. So just keep your head on a swivel. There's been more church shootings this week, one of which at least was actually gang related, so don't worry about that. It does beg the question, why is the LDS Church allowing the Crips to occupy one of their wards? What a tangled web we weave. In any event, keep your head on a swivel. Do the things. If we can help you for medical stuff with Refuge Medical, feel free to call us. If you need Caleb House, contact Caleb House. If you need Grindstone, contact Grindstone. If you need Bear Independent, contact Bear Independent. If you need medical help, first aid kit help, contact Refuge Medical. Call the store, visit the website, shoot us an email, use the chat function. It's real people over there. We'll get you everything you need, from a piece of gauze to a field hospital. And if you're like, I don't want to spend 6 to 7 figures on a field hospital, I totally understand. Get the buckets. What buckets? The wound care bucket, the burn bucket, the surgical bucket, the birthing bucket, the postpartum bucket. Put them in a closet, put them in a Connex box, bury them in the ground, do whatever you want to do with them. Congratulations, you have begun to build a stabilization point, a mini field hospital, just with what's in those buckets. And first aid kits, and stomp bags, and IFAKs, and we got what you need, baby. All right, refugemedical.com. Appreciate you guys. I'm gonna jump off of here. I need way more coffee, and I'll see y'all when I see you.
Build a website you love with Wix. For your words, create your brand, your opportunity, your breakthrough. Feeling a vibe? Run with it. From can't look away to gotta have it. Make every detail yours. Bring out what's hot. Remove what's not. Crystallize it. Instantly set a tone that speaks in your voice to your audience. Keep moving. Your site grows with you. Add solutions that meet you where you are and take you where you want to go. Smooth to make, easy to love.
I used to say, if I hear AI one more time, I'm gonna lose it. But Monday.com is super easy to use and knows how to do AI right. My team quit going through endless documents ourselves. Monday Sidekick handles that now, pulling the crucial info and then prioritizing based on whatever we need. So stuff that takes my team hours is now done before they even open their laptop. I use it for insights and action suggestions constantly, especially on those back-to-back meeting days. All these AI features are built directly into Monday.com and actually use our real data. With Monday.com, AI isn't some over-promising future. It's here. It just works. Like, actually saves us time and resources kind of work.
Monday Sidekick, AI you'll love to use. Start a free trial today at Monday.com.
Why is the Israel lobby bad for your health? Let's find out. I'm Nick Hanna, criminal lawyer, and welcome to the What and the Why. Since October 2023, the Israel lobby has waged a relentless campaign against the countless doctors, nurses, and other healthcare workers in the West who've had the audacity to speak out against the genocide in Gaza. While the tactics used by the lobby groups have sometimes differed from country to country, the goal is always the same: to punish those who criticize Israel and to deter others from doing the same. On today's episode, I'm going to investigate the lobby's efforts to silence medical professionals here in Australia. I'll be focusing on the recent high-profile and shocking case of Professor Peter MacDonald, the world-renowned cardiologist who was stopped from performing his life-saving work after he made a comment about Israel at a community forum in Sydney. As I think you'll agree after watching this video, the treatment of Professor MacDonald has been truly outrageous, and it underscores both the lobby's incredible influence as well as the incredible harm it can cause to its targets and to our healthcare system more broadly. Before I explain what happened to Professor MacDonald, I want to talk a bit about who he is and why he's so special. Professor Peter MacDonald is one of the leading cardiologists in the world. He's held various prestigious roles over the years, and it would take me several hours to go through all of his career achievements. So I'm just going to highlight a few here. Most relevantly, he's the head of the heart transplant unit at the St. Vincent's Hospital and the co-head of the Heart Transplantation Research Laboratory at the Victor Chain Cardiac Research Institute.
Oh, got a bit more than what we expected there. Never mind. Haha. So, you ended up with a bit more than you bargained for there. That's alright. I was in another world. Where was I? I was just jotting down some notes. I've already got my ticket to go to the launch for Lee Hanson's takeover of Jackie Lambie's spot. It's funny that, isn't it? One Nation is filling the shoes of the Jackie Lambie network. Braddon. Something smells off. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. Already got me ticket. I'm going. When? Ulverston the 28th. Hang on, where's my ticket? Ready? That's not it. Yeah, what's up, dog? What's up, dog? You wouldn't know around here. Your order has been confirmed. Please find a copy of your tickets on tax invoice. Date booked 10th of January. Book ID. You don't need all that. 28th of February at 12 p.m. till 3 p.m. Due south. That's 49 and 51 Eastlands Drive, Tasmania, Ulverston. That's the hotel in Eastlands Drive in Ulverston. Come one, come all. Come with your questions. Let's have a bowl. Glad I've had a little bit of practice at doing this sort of thing with council meetings. This could be interesting. Not me, I'm just the meat wagon. Thank the Most High.